Welcome back to the channel. This is Trinity Storm and you are watching first part of What If Betrayed Naruto Chose a Different Path. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share and subscribe to the channel. Now wasting no more time, let's start the story.
Konoha. Rooms for the council. Several days after the mission to find and bring back Sasuke Uchiha was successful, Naruto Uzumaki stood in front of the entire council of Konoha, which included both shinobi and civilians. Three counselors, Homura, Kaharu, and Danzo, were sitting in front of him, and the current fifth Hokage, Tsunade Senju, looked at him with a tired, sad, and almost defeated look. The council, both shinobi and civilians, gave the young genin of Konoha many angry looks and stares. The civilians didn't try to hide their hatred, spite, and a sick sense of satisfaction at seeing the Kyuubi Jinchuriki with his arm in a sling and barely alive. Sasuke did a lot of damage to Naruto. He stabbed him in the chest, broke his bones, and hurt him so badly that he would have died if it weren't for Kyuubi's chakra and the fact that he was able to knock that jerk out and drag him back to Konoha. And just as he did that, Naruto collapsed at the gates of his village from exhaustion, blood loss, torn muscles, and broken bones. The last thing he saw before he passed out was Sakura and Kakashi running toward them, followed by Tsunade Ba-chan and Shizune-chan. Naruto was sure that he had finished the mission and that everyone would thank him when he saw that, so he fell asleep. When Naruto woke up a few days later, he found that almost everyone in Konoha hated and was angry at him. This was bad news for the goofy blonde who liked oranges. Not even an hour after he woke up, Sakura came to see him. Naruto greeted her with a smile and a cheer, but all he got in return were 2 punches to the face and a broken nose. She then told him she hated him and that he had broken his promise to Sakura to bring Sasuke back to her unharmed. Before Sakura left Naruto, she called him a demon and a monster. Naruto didn't have the strength, the will, or the chance to answer back. That brought back bad memories of all the times Naruto had been called that. Blood and tears came out of his broken nose, and the feeling of betrayal and pain started to creep back into his heart. Throughout the day, Naruto had a lot of visitors, and each one was worse than the last. Shikamaru, the mission leader and one of the few people Naruto thought of as a friend, scolded the young blonde for all the years he had been reckless, violent, and dishonest. He also told Naruto that everyone now knew that he had Kyuubi in him. Shikamaru called Naruto an idiot and a cheater because he thought all of Naruto's powers came from Kyuubi. This news shocked and hurt Naruto. After he left, the rest of the teams came in and called Naruto out for being a Kyuubi holder and for always seeming to cheat. It hurt Naruto a lot to hear them all call him a liar, a traitor, and worse. They were sure he had tried to kill Sasuke instead of bringing him back. None of them cared about Naruto's side of the story. Every time Naruto was yelled at or scolded, his fragile faith in his friends, the good of the people, and even the will of fire crumbled and wore away. By the time evening came, almost every genin in his class had come to Naruto and given him the worst beating of his life. Only those who were still badly hurt and Hinata hadn't come to see him. When evening came, Naruto's sensei, Kakashi, finally took off his mask. Naruto had hoped that at least he, the person in charge of him, would tell him what was going on and give Naruto a chance to say something. But unfortunately, Naruto's heart sank even more and his beliefs were shattered when Kakashi told him in a harsh tone that he was disappointed in him and that his mission was to bring Sasuke back unharmed, but Naruto seemed to go out of his way to attack him because of a small rivalry. Naruto listened as the man he thought of as his older brother and even father verbally destroyed him, showing the young blonde what Hatake was really like and how much he favored Sasuke Uchiha. Kakashi ended his rant about the importance of teamwork and how Naruto had gone against everything he had taught him and also against what Naruto's favorite Hokage, the fourth Hokage, had taught him with the news that Naruto was no longer his student and that his secret was no longer safe because the Konoha Council had finally let everyone know. When the Cyclops left, Naruto looked worse than ever. He felt like his soul was being torn apart and his heart was being crushed to nothing. Naruto had wished he was dead for the first time in years. When night came and Naruto was hoping to at least lie down and sleep, Jiraiya, the pervy sage, who Naruto admired almost as much as the third Hokage, came to see him. By the end of his visit, Naruto's opinion of him had changed a lot. Jiraiya was just as disappointed and angry with Naruto as everyone else, and the Toad Sage even scolded Naruto for killing his friend with the Rasengan and relying on the demonic fox to fight Sasuke. Jiraiya didn't care about Naruto's critical condition or what Sasuke had done to him. Instead, he focused on Naruto's failures, just like everyone else. Toad Sage told Naruto that Lords 3rd and 4th would be very disappointed with him, especially Lord 4th. He also told the young genin that Jiraiya had ended Naruto's contract as a Toad summoner. Naruto listened to everything Jiraiya said with a blank face, showing no emotion or anything else. He just let his tears flow freely as the man he used to respect yelled at him for almost nothing. When Jiraiya left Naruto, the blonde girl just sat there and stared at the wall with a dead look on her face. She didn't even want to move. Years of being insulted, beaten, left alone, and hated, plus what he heard today from the people who were basically his closest friends. No matter how strong your spirit, how strong your will, or how much light is in your heart, everyone has a limit to how much pain and sorrow they can take. Naruto Uzumaki had always tried to believe that people were good and that there were people who cared about him. But today, he had to face the harsh and cold truth of his life. No matter how hard he tried, fought, bled, and protected, the people of Konoha will always see him as a demon and trash, no matter what he does. With this realization, Naruto realized that his dream of becoming a Hokage was now just ashes, because after all the pain, suffering, and sadness he had been through, his soul could no longer hope to find happiness in Konoha. Naruto let his long-suppressed hatred for Konoha take over his heart for the first time in his life. It was always there, growing like a cancer with every look, hit, scolding, bias, and more of these things. Naruto had tried as hard as he could to stop it, but now he accepted what he had known since he was a child. He hated this place, the Konohagakure, and the people who lived there because of what they had done to him. Naruto had enough, and the wall that kept his darkness at bay finally fell. The blonde now accepts the harsh and cold world for what it is. The next morning, Anbu and Shizune woke Naruto up from his dreamless sleep and told him he had to go to the council chambers right away. Naruto was able to get dressed and get to the place where he was standing now with the help of Shizune. He could feel the hatred and resentment of everyone there except for Tsunade, Shizune, Kurenai, Anko, Hinata, and Anbu guards. Jonins, heirs of clans, and the current generation of genins were also here, including Sasuke, who was looking at Naruto with a Kurenai, and Anko Mitarashi were the only ones in the room who couldn't hide their sadness and sympathy as they looked at the bandaged and bruised boy. Kurenai, to everyone's surprise, was almost crying, and Anko was holding her up, while Tsunade just let her tears fall. When Naruto looked at them all, he was surprised, but in his mind, he already knew what was going on and was ready for what was to come. He had already had enough of Konoha and seen how bad it was for him, so there wasn't much they could do to surprise him at this point. Genin Naruto Uzumaki, the Council of Konoha has found you guilty of all charges because of your horrible behavior toward Konoha, your dishonorable actions in the field, your attempt to kill clan heir and fellow shinobi of Konoha, Sasuke Uchiha, your use of A-rank Kinjutsu, and you're putting Hidden Leaf Village in danger by releasing Kyuubi's chakra. You are no longer a genin, or, on top of that, the Council of Konoha has decided that your presence in this village in the Land of Fire is a threat to both the village and the country. Because of this, you were banned from Konohagakure no Sato in the Land of Fire for life. If you were ever found within the borders of Hai no Kuni, you will be killed on the spot as an enemy of the state and a traitor to Konoha. You have 24 hours to leave Konoha and 1 week to leave. Naruto's bangs of hair covered his eyes, but his whole body showed that he was full of hate and anger. Naruto was very angry, but he kept it all inside. The sick satisfaction of the civilians, the smirks of the Shinobi Council, Sakura, Sasuke, and the counselors' triumphant looks at him, all of this and much more made him furious, but he kept it all inside. Since he was a baby, this village has done everything it could to kill him. Now, it has done what it has always wanted to do, but he was too stupid and idealistic to see it from the start. Naruto moved slowly toward Tsunade, feeling pain in his muscles and bones. She looked at him without trying to hide her own pain and suffering. At first, she thought of Naruto as her little brother, but after a few months, she started to see him more like a son she never had. Even though she never showed it, it warmed Tsunade's heart when Naruto called her Ba-chan or even Ka-chan when she was being especially kind to him. Not long after Tsunade went back to Konoha and saw how badly Konoha had treated Naruto, she did everything she could to help Naruto deal with his hidden pain and anger. She and Shizune did things like fix up Naruto's apartment, get him good food, clean water, new clothes, and more.
And now, this village has destroyed the young blonde and everything good about him for this place, which hurts Tsunade.
Even more when she lost Dan and Nawaki, because she thought of Naruto as her son and she was the one who let him down. As she was away taking care of Naruto's wounds, the council saw this as a great chance and made the most of it, doing everything it could to exile and destroy Naruto and take away everything he had, all right in front of Tsunade. Tsunade had never hated the village that her grandfather and great-uncle had built, but after this and what she found out later in Sarutobi's files, she really hated this place for the first time in her life. Naruto saw the pain in Tsunade's eyes, which he had seen before, and he just gave her a sympathetic look. Even though the young blonde hated this village now, neither Tsunade nor Shizune did. They never hurt him or turned him against him. No, they were about the only ones who really cared about him and helped him as he was. Even though he looked like a fool, Naruto knew that his surrogate mother and sister had nothing to do with this farce. He took off his headband and put it on the table with his free hand. He then put his license on top of it. Homura was about to reach for it with her hand and a sickly happy look on her face when Naruto slashed a kunai through the village symbol and his license. This surprised and shocked everyone, as the kunai went through both objects and the table, earning him even more angry looks. Naruto finally spoke up before anyone else could say anything. "Good riddance," was all he said, in a voice filled with coldness, hatred, and resentment that no one had ever heard before. Kurenai, Anko, and Shizune all broke down when they heard those words, while Naruto stumbled out of the chambers, not caring about the insults his old friends and others were throwing at him. Naruto. Tsunade's voice stopped Naruto as he was about to leave the building. He turned around and saw her coming toward him. "And Naruto, I am so sorry, Iya." Naruto just told Tsunade, "Don't be," which surprised her a little. "I know you and Shizune Nei-chan had nothing to do with it. The council, the civilians, the shinobi, the advisors. I've known for a long time that they wanted to get rid of me, but I was too stubborn to accept it. To be honest with you, I was ready to meet the blade of the executioner." "Don't say it that way, Naruto. It's not like you," Tsunade almost yelled in shock. "I know what happened here was cruel and awful, but don't let it bother you. I will overrule them, and they'll be sorry they did that to you, and you'll be back in no time. Ka-chan." When Naruto called her that, Tsunade stopped right away and looked at her surrogate son's very sad face. "Thank you and Nei-chan for everything. I know you mean well and want the best for me, but please. Just let me go. You and I both know that this village and all of those people will never accept me as you and Nei-chan had. To you, I am Naruto, but to everyone else, even Kakashi Teme and Jiraiya Teme, I am a disappointment, a cheater, a demon, and only a tool to be used in." When Tsunade heard about it, she was shocked. She knew right away what had happened. All of them had gone to see Naruto. He must have gotten one hell of a verbal beating, which is what finally broke her favorite blonde. Tsunade was clenching her fists to keep from charging at them all and snapping their necks one by one, then going after their parents and friends for doing such a thing. Even worse, the first person on her list was Jiraiya, a former teammate she hated more than even Orochimaru. He was given Naruto to look after, took him on as an apprentice, and then did this to him. "Jiraiya, I hope you've already left this village, because if you haven't, I'll send you to hell myself for this." Tsunade swore to herself in her mind. "And you, Sarutobi-sensei, I hope your poor soul is suffering in Shinigami's stomach for what you did to my Naruto and let those jerks do to him. If only my parents and grandparents had seen it, if only Minato, my boy, had seen all of you in this," Tsunade thought to herself as she remembered the fourth Hokage. "Arg, screw you all. You can take everything from my Naruto here, but you can't take what's his by birthright, and I won't just leave him again. To hell with being a Hokage and all of you fuckheads." Tsunade wiped away her tears, looked at Naruto, and pulled a green storage scroll out of her pocket and gave it to him. "This storage scroll is all yours, Naruto. It has water, food, medicine, clothes, money, books, scrolls, and a map from Senju's vault," Tsunade told the blonde when she gave him the scroll. "The food and water will last you at least a year, and there's more than enough money to start a new life somewhere nice. Don't worry or even think about giving any of it back. It's all yours, and I won't hear you say otherwise," Tsunade said to him with strength. Naruto asked in a shaky voice, "But why?" He was shocked that Tsunade was giving him so much. "Because you deserve it all, Naruto," Tsunade told him simply as she knelt down and gave him a warm, motherly hug. Tears once more came out of her eyes. "Why, you just stay safe out there, okay? I'll send Katsuyu to you with letters, and if you need anything, just ask, oh okay?" Naruto hugged his surrogate mother with shaky hands and a few tears of his own. Naruto told her, "Okay. Ka-chan, thank you." Tsunade looked at her surrogate son with a small smile and tears in her eyes as she spoke to him. Tsunade told Naruto, inside the scroll is a map with detailed directions to a place I've marked for you. I want you to open it after you leave the village and are far away from it. When you feel better, go to the place that's marked there. Naruto asked Tsunade, and what is that place? It is the Uzushiogakure, the land of whirlpools, and the ancestral home of clan Uzumaki, which is your clan and the clan of your mother and my grandmother. Naruto looked at Tsunade with wide eyes. Iwa, Kiri and Kumo may have destroyed the place years ago, but they didn't destroy what's hidden there, the legacy of the Uzumaki and Senju clans. I give it all to you, Naruto. Use it as you see fit. Naruto gave her a smile and a nod before Tsunade pulled out 2 envelopes, one with a Hokage stamp and the other with a clan Senju stamp. Naruto, when you get to Uzushiogakure, I want you to open them. I know you have a lot of questions about your parents, the Kyuubi, and other things, and I hope you'll find the answers you're looking for in those 2 letters. I'm sorry, I really do wish I could tell you everything you want to know, but... It's okay, Ka-chan, I get it, Naruto told her with a smile as he gave her one last hug and said goodbye. I think I'll leave now. I don't want to stay here any longer than I already have, and I don't want to give them all another chance to be mean to me. Can you say goodbye to Shizune-chan for me? Of course, Gaki. Sometimes I'll even send her to you with Katsuyu, Tsunade said with a smile. Take good care of yourself, Naruto. Naruto surprised Tsunade by saying, I'll do it, and... I'm sorry, Ka-chan. I know how badly you and your family have been treated in this village, and I'm sorry I made you come here. Tsunade told Naruto, don't feel bad about that. Don't worry, as long as I'm Hokage, I'll keep those jerks away from you so they don't try to get you back. You just find yourself a life of your own and be happy, really happy, you hear me? Promise me to be happy, Sochi? Naruto was shocked when the woman who had been like a mother to him called him her son. He nodded eagerly to her and smiled with tears in his eyes. Okay, go. I hope to hear good news in at least 3 years, Gaki. Naruto asked Tsunade, what's the good news, Ka-chan? Oh, for the love of. I mean, about you getting a wife and kids, you Gaki. Tsunade almost yelled at him, which shocked Naruto. I want grandkids to spoil, and Senju and Uzumaki won't come back if they don't have new members, hear me? Why yes, Ka-chan. She yelled at him, and Naruto almost winced. But then Tsunade wrapped her arms around him and kissed his forehead, and he felt better. Tsunade smiled at Naruto as he walked away from her and out of the building. She told him, goodbye, Naruto. Go live a happy life. Anbu. Yelled the Hokage, and 10 Anbu shinobi walked up to her. Neko, Okami, you will lead Naruto out of the village and protect him as he leaves the land of fire. Anyone who tries to attack him will be killed, no exceptions. Make sure he gets to Uzushiogakure safely. Yes, Lady Hokage, as you wish, Neko and her partner Okami answered with clear excitement and eagerness, and they were already on their way to do their job. Lady Hokage, is it smart to? Bor tried to say something, but Tsunade and his Anbu friends gave him a strong look. What will the council and advisors say? Tsunade told them, I don't care what they say or suggest. I'm a damn Hokage, and I've had enough of their plotting and whining. Saru, find that traitorous pervert who looks like a frog and bring him to my office in 5 minutes. If he resists or refuses, do whatever it takes to get him, up to and including killing him. If I may, Lady Hokage, I have a personal request, said Saru, an Anbu woman from the Sarutobi clan. Can I at least break one of his legs or ribs? I promise he'll be able to talk when he's born. Saru, I've already told you, if he fights you, do whatever it takes to get him, even if it means killing him. Tsunade thought she saw a murderous gleam in Saru's eyes, but she couldn't fault an Anbu. If anyone kills that scumbag, it will be me. Tora, Taka, you are now keeping an eye on Sasuke Uchiha. If he tries to get close to any of the gates or shows any sign of leaving, I give you permission to detain him with extreme prejudice and send him to prison, got it? Thank you, Lady Hokage, they both said, feeling especially angry for the young blonde whose pain they had seen today and already leaving. The rest of the Anbu nodded and went back to what they were doing. Tsunade saw Kakashi and Haruno Sakura already coming to see her. Hataki, Haruno, tell me what you want, and do it quickly. Lady Hokage, I'd like to ask you to train my genin Sakura Haruno to be a medical nin, since... Kakashi started with his usual eye smile, but he was cut off right away. No. I will never in my whole life teach this disgrace of a kunoichi the arts of medicine and surgery, Tsunade said in a harsh and cruel way, shocking Kakashi and Sakura. But, Lady Hokage, I have perfect control of chakra, and my grades were at the top of the class, and Kakashi-sensei. Sakura tried to defend herself, but Tsunade didn't let her. I'm your Hokage, Haruno, and if I say no, it's over. As for you two and that precious Uchiha of yours, your Team 7 will now be on D-rank missions for the next 6 months, and half of your earnings will go to the Konoha orphanage. Sasuke Uchiha's earnings will be only 1/5 of yours. You also can't take the next 2 Chunin exams. Lady H Hokage, you just can't. I can and I already did, Hitaki, so shut it. And if you think the council will be able to overrule me, think again. Suggest you spend this time teaching your genin some actual training instead of those teamwork exercises, because Sakura Haruno is now on month of probation due to her poor record as a shinobi. If within the said month she does not improve her skills, I personally boot her out of the shinobi program and deny any appellations about return. And until the probation is over, no other shinobi of any specialization will give her any training. The criteria for completion of the test I give you later, Hitaki, so you best get to work, because if she fails, then I will consider it as an evidence of your incompetence as a Jonin shinobi and there will be a suitable punishment for this for you. As for your favorite Uchiha, I be placing a special traitor mark upon him, so as to make sure that pathetic excuse for shinobi doesn't escape again, and if he does, you know what will happen with him, to you? Lady Tsunade, you're going too far with this. What could have happened to make my team get such unfair punishments? Kakashi asks Tsunade, shocked to hear this because he knows what a special traitor mark means in the shinobi world. Your blatant bias, favoritism and also your inadequate work as Jonin, shinobi, and self-proclaimed best student of 4th Hokage, Hitaki. Had you really cared for Minato's teachings and followed him, you would have known by now that you've sullied his memory and legacy in the worst possible way. Now, get out of my sight. Tsunade roared at them, making the two scatter away from her, while her thoughts were once again with her surrogate son. Take care of yourself, Naruto. And I hope you're watching out for him, Minato. I'm sorry I let you down, and I hope you'll forgive me, my boy, Tsunade told herself as she walked into her office, where she saw Saru literally tying Jiraiya to a chair while the Toad Sage tried to get out, but it wasn't easy with a broken leg and arm. As you asked, Lady Hokage, Saru said, pointing at Jiraiya. Tsunade gave the girl a nod and let her go. Jiraiya said, Hey, Tsunaheim, what's the big idea? If you wanted to spend some quality time with me, you should have just asked me. He said this in a way that was both insulting and sleazy. Tie me up, and we'll. Jiraiya, I'm tired of all your hints. Now, you're going to tell me everything you and our jerk of a teacher have done to Naruto, and Kami save you. If you try to change your mind, I'll make you wish you were dead, understand? Tsunade was ready to make her former teammate suffer. Tease Tsunade, why don't you calm down, and we'll just sit down in a bar like we used to, and... When Tsunade's right leg hit Jiraiya's, it broke a bone, and a single kick broke it even more. Arg. Fine. Okay, I'll talk, just don't talk, and I won't kill you if your toads don't eat you, Tsunade told him in a very serious way. After 7 years. Wave Country. Land of Waves used to be a poor backwater country run by a powerful tycoon. Now, it is a prosperous trading nation with ports and markets that are always full of merchants, businessmen, and traders from all over the world. There is no better place to buy something at the best price and quality in all of elemental nations than in this country. And Naruto Uzumaki, the shinobi of Konoha who was unfairly sent away from his village and a hero of waves, is to thank for this golden age in the land of waves and its people. When word got out about Uzumaki's banishment, Konoha suffered a lot on the diplomatic front. It lost ties with the lands of Snow, Wave, Waterfall, and, most recently, Suna, all of which knew the knucklehead shinobi and respected and admired him. The diplomatic blow from Suna, which had gotten back on its feet after Orochimaru's invasion and manipulations failed and made its position much stronger, hurt the most. Gaara became the 5th Kazekage about 5 years ago. He has worked hard to get Suna's positions back and make them stronger, and he has been successful. He has also shown that he is not only capable, but also a strong and respected Kazekage. He fixed the relationship between Suna and Iwa by starting trade with them and even making a defensive pact with them. This ended the previous pact with Konoha in favor of better relationships with Iwa, Wave, the newly reformed Kiri, and even Kumo. That blow to Konoha's pride and reputation is still very fresh in people's minds, and they won't forget it anytime soon. And while most of the elemental nations were enjoying peace and stability, in the land of waves, things took a sudden turn for the worse when two people in black cloaks with red skies on them showed up in the capital. They caused destruction and chaos right away, forcing people to flee for their lives or become Akatsuki cannon fodder. Usually, members of the elusive Akatsuki act with restraint and stealth, yet this particular pair has traveled all the way to the wave for a specific reason: collect a very hefty bounty on Hanzo Hattori, an S-rank Ronin, a shinobi without a village, but not a nuke nin, who had played a critical part in Kiri's civil war, as well as in Mizu's civil war, which swept through country when 4th Mizukage murdered Daimyo and his entire family. Once a relatively unknown person, Hanzo showed up in Kiri over 6 years ago and quickly became one of Ieyasu Tokugawa, the current 5th Mizukage and Daimyo of Mizu's most dangerous allies, earning titles like Kirigakure no Oni and Kage no Shi. He got the first title after killing over 150 shinobi in Kiri by himself in an hour, and he got the second title after killing the 4th Mizukage in single combat. Even though the war ended about 4 years ago, Hanzo kept working as a Ronin, first helping rebuild Kiri, then Kumo, then Iwa, and finally Suna. He became known as a trustworthy, honest, and resourceful shinobi. Konoha had also tried to get him to come to their village and work for them, but Hanzo always turned them down and said he didn't want anything to do with them, which was a shock to them. Toad Sage Jiraiya once tried to find Hanzo, but all he did was attract the attention of Iwa's and Kumo's shinobi corps, who were more than happy to pay off their debts to Hanzo. Only about 2 years ago did people learn that Hanzo lives in Wave, which is where Akatsuki has decided to go to find the elusive Ronin. Kakuzu of Jongu and Hidan thought that Hanzo's reputation was overblown and that they could easily beat him. They were wrong, and they were wrong badly, because Hanzo quickly showed up in front of them and somehow moved them out of the center of the capital and onto a clearing. He was also overpowering them and killing them both. Kakuzu had already lost 3 hearts and was running out of chakra and endurance. Hidan, on the other hand, had been knocked out by Hanzo's genjutsu early on, which was very powerful. Kakuzu had tried to get to Hidan and break it, but Hanzo stopped him, and he had already lost 2 masks and hearts because of it. Now he is standing in his long-range form with stitches all over him, while his opponent is wearing a black sleeveless samurai shirt with red trim around the edges, a black mesh bodysuit, shoulder and wrist guards, and samurai-style light armor on the hips, black anbu pants, leg guards, and closed boots. On the back of the shirt was a picture of a red tornado made up of red shuriken with 7 points and many blades without handles. Hanzo had black hair with a bit of silver in it. He had a tail behind his head and 2 spiky bangs on either side. His eyes were blue, but they looked more like silver, and he had a black face guard that covered everything under his eyes. He held a katana with a black handle and a blade that was a little longer than usual in his right hand. The other sword was on his right hip. Hanzo looked at his opponent, who was hurt, put his sword away, and spoke up. Hanzo looked at Kakuzu and said, "From what I can tell, you only have enough chakra left for 4 more minutes in that form, no less. I could just keep you waiting until you run out of time, but that would be too risky for me." "That's right, and I can't take any more chances," Kakuzu said. He then sent his stitched arms right at Hanzo as a distraction while his lightning mask hit Hanzo from behind. Hanzo saw the outstretched arms coming right at him, but he also felt Kakuzu's last mask charge up its blast and shoot at him from behind. Hanzo decided to end this fight, so he quickly made 4 hand signs that let his body chakra flow out. Hanzo thought to himself, "Wind style." Rasenkazi and the wind particles that were charged with his chakra began to spin around him, forming a dome of lightning-fast microscopic blades that cut Kakuzu's arms and stitches to pieces and shielded Hanzo from the lightning blast of Kakuzu's mask. The immortal bounty hunter roared in pain as his arms were destroyed and he lost the ability to use his jutsu. As the dome of Rasenkazi fell apart, Hanzo turned his attention to the last mask of Kakuzu. He disappeared for a second and then reappeared right in front of it, followed by a quick series of signs that charged his chakra. Wind style. Kei's no Yeba. From Hanzo's palms, invisible small discs of wind flew out and hit the lightning mask quickly, breaking it and making the rest its stitches fall apart. Hanzo turned his attention to Kakuzu, who was already trying to get away from an opponent who seemed impossible to beat, running away from him. "Damn it, I haven't been beaten so badly since Hashirama Senju almost killed me. That Hanzo is nothing like the Amikage one. It's like I was fighting Itachi Uchiha without Sharingan, but with Kisami's endless supply of chakra and the speed of the 4th Hokage, damn it." Kakuzu thought to himself as he ran past his still hypnotized partner, leaving him to his fate. Kakuzu was about to say, "I need to tell the leader that we might have a serious problem with," when he saw Hanzo standing right in front of him and charging what looked like a spinning ball of pure chakra with fire running through it. "You should have run when you had the chance, bounty hunter," Hanzo said simply as he threw the flaming chakra ball at Kakuzu. Fire style. Rasenteyu. As soon as the sphere touched Kakuzu, it grew around him and burned him and everything within a 2-meter radius, including grass, leaves, trees, rocks, and the ground, just like a small sun, which is why it was called that. Once it was gone, Hanzo let out a sigh. All he could see was the glass floor where Kakuzu used to be. One down, one more to go, Hanzo said to himself as he moved toward Hidan, who was still standing still, his face twitching and his 3-bladed scythe lying on the ground. Another Jashin fanatic. As if I haven't seen enough of you in Mizu no Kuni. Hanzo quickly grabs his left katana and cuts Hidan's head off with lightning speed, breaking his genjutsu and letting the pieces of his body fall to the ground. "What the fucking shit piss did you do to me, you cocksucking whore?" Hidan yelled at Hanzo as soon as he saw his head on the ground and his body close by. "You motherfucker, do you know what I'll do to you when I get my hands on you?" "No, because you won't have a chance." Hanzo took a black scroll with no markings out of his shirt and opened it. It had a very accurate and strong sealing code on it, and he could seal it with one hand. Uzumaki Secret Fuinjutsu, Demonic Void Prison. As Hanzo said this, a black demonic hand reached out of the scroll and grabbed Hidan's head, pulling it inside the scroll. After the sealing was done, the symbol of an Oni appeared in the center of a circle, and Hanzo closed the scroll and put a powerful protection seal on it to keep it from being open. Hanzo took the scroll from them and let out a sigh that had a bit of tiredness in it. Even though it was a pretty good fight for him, it was still hard, especially since those two were from the Akatsuki. He thought it was a good thing that he had to fight Kakuzu and Hidan today, because they had a reputation for being scary in the underworld and all over the elemental nations. It's always easier to fight well-known enemies because you know at least a little bit about what they can do. Those two weren't the stealthiest, and Hanzo knew that the Akatsuki would eventually come after him, so he got ready for that day. Still, he was very lucky that they were not only some of the weaker Akatsuki, but that they also thought he wasn't as strong as he was. But even though he won this match, his family and him being here means only one thing. Hanzo thought to himself, there will be more, and next time they'll probably send someone much better skilled, as he made a series of hand gestures. Fire style. "Ao Enden," he said, and then he spat out a blue flame of fire that engulfed Hidan's body. He stood over it and watched as the body's pieces burned away, never to be seen again. Since a single Ronin was able to kill both Akatsuki members at the same time, they will send their best and most dangerous members. Since I don't know who is at the top yet, I can only prepare for the arrival of Itachi and Kisame. Either of them could easily kill Kakuzu and Hidan, so it won't be easy, especially with Itachi. And the worst part is that we'll have to move out of here. Well, there's no point in standing around here. The girls must be going crazy worrying at home, Hanzo said. Then, in a flash of black and red, he was gone. The home of Hanzo. Hanzo appeared in front of a 2-story wooden house that looked modern but not too fancy or expensive. He took off his face guard and went straight to the front door. When Hanzo opened it, he saw 2 women who looked like they were ready to fight, but as soon as they saw him, they relaxed. The first one was a young woman with long blonde hair that flowed freely, dark eyes, and red lipstick. She was wearing a black and purple shirt with short sleeves and black pants with a cloud-like pattern on them. When the young woman saw her husband, her nails shrank and 2 blue flaming tails went away. She smiled at him in relief. The second woman's hair was long and bright red, and her eyes were big and round. She was dressed in a fancy white kimono with a high collar and the symbol of Uzushiogakure on the back of the obi, which was tied around her waist. Her hair was bright red, long and spiky, and it reached to her waist behind her. She had also calmed down, and she followed the blonde woman who spoke up and hugged her husband. She told him simply, "You are here," but her voice was full of care and love. "You should have taken us both along, and who would have stayed to take care of the house after Yusaka and Masamune, Kurama?" He asked his first wife, Kurama, also known as Kyuubi no Yoko. She was standing in her human form, which she had modeled after her first host, Mito Uzumaki, whom Kurama greatly respected, loved, and admired. "You know that if anything had happened to either of them, you would have killed me. Still, leaving us out here in the dark. said Yugito Ni, who used to be a kunoichi of Kumogakure and a Jinchuriki of Nibi. She was thought to be dead for a long time after her own battle with the Akatsuki 4 years ago, but the man who holds her now brought her back to life. We could have left Matabi with them and gone with you. Mo, don't talk like that, Yugi-chan. I was worried sick about our Naru-kun here and wouldn't leave him out, but kids are also important. Said a young woman with black and blue hair, wearing a blue dress with a black pattern on it, showing off her figurine and tattooed legs and arms in a pattern of stripes, with her right eye being yellow and her left eye being green, and with what seemed to be tattoos of cat's whiskers. Naru-kun, tell me, Arthosia. Yes, Mata-chan, they are gone, and they won't hurt us or our children here, said Naruto Uzumaki, a former shinobi of Konohagakure and Jinchuriki of Kyubi who was betrayed by the people he swore to protect. He is now known as Hanzo Hattori, husband to 2 Biju and another former Jinchuriki, father to 2 children, and one of the world's strongest and most dangerous shinobi. And I'll never let them, she said. Naruto has been alive for 7 years and has been through a lot in that time. He has grown in height and in personality as he has grown up in the harshness of the outside world. He has also learned more about his ancestors, the Uzumaki and Senju clans. Before he got to where he is now, he went through a hell of a journey, and his first stop was Uzushiogakure, the ruins of a once powerful and proud hidden village of the Uzumaki clan. Naruto didn't think he would get anything out of it at first, but Tsunade was right. She had left him instructions on how to get to the one place Uzumaki had kept the most. The hidden temple of the Sage of Six Paths was where Uzumaki kept his most valuable things. Only Naruto had access to the great Uzumaki library, which had hundreds and hundreds of scrolls and books about ninjutsu, taijutsu, genjutsu, kenjutsu, and fuinjutsu, which was the most valuable of them all. Naruto could use the knowledge of more than 10 generations of Uzumaki, Senju, and even Otsutsuki Hagoromo. Naruto took to everything like a fish to water. He was determined and eager to learn, get stronger, and be better than he was before. For most people, it would take 100 years to learn what Naruto had learned, but it only took him a couple of years, thanks to his shadow clones, his natural ability to learn things, his Uzumaki blood, and Kurama's help, who, despite Naruto's initial disbelief, was not only friendly with him but also very interested in and fond of him, caring very much for the blonde. The reasons for this and a lot of new information about Konoha, his past, and his time in Konoha didn't come out until much later, almost at the end of Naruto's time in Uzushiogakure. These things only solidified what Naruto had become, turning him from a blonde, loudmouthed idiot into a true shinobi with the knowledge and legacy of his clans in him. When Naruto left Uzu to go out into the world, he was much smarter and more grown up than he had been before. Naruto changed his appearance because he knew that as a Jinchuriki, he would be a prime target not only for Akatsuki but also for other villages. He got rid of his whisker marks completely, changed his hairstyle, color, clothes, and even his personality. He became Hanzo Hattori, a ronin who helped put an end to the chaos in Mizuno Kuni, became known as one of the most feared shinobi on the continent, and more. Naruto didn't think he would turn out to be who he is now, but he's glad he did. He helped put an end to the 4th Mizukage's reign of terror, unified the country with Ieyasu Tokugawa, stopped Han from killing the 3rd Tsuchikage, made peace between Gaara and Shukaku by making Gaara's seal the same level as Naruto's, and helped Kumo, Iwa, Suna, but the most important things he had done in his life were probably falling in love with Kurama, Yugito, and Matabi, and having Yusaka, his daughter, with Kurama, and Masamune, his son, with Yugito. With Uzumaki's vast knowledge of fuinjutsu, the texts of the Sage of the Six Paths, and Mito Uzumaki's and Hashirama Senju's vast medical knowledge, Naruto found a way to let Kurama go free without killing him. Even though he let her out of her prison in him, he is still linked to her and can pull her chakra through the link they share. By the time it happened, he and Kurama had been in love for a long time, and Kitsune didn't think twice about marrying her former jailer, who had changed into a form that fit her spirit and fancy. Soon after that, Naruto and Kurama saved Yugito from Kakuzu and Hidan. Yugito, who used to be a kunoichi from Kumo, stayed with Naruto and Kurama because she was badly hurt and thought to be dead. Soon after she got better, the former Konoha nin took a liking to her, and she and her tailed beast fell in love with him. Naruto didn't like it at first, but he eventually got used to them. After they freed Matabi, they all became one big family, which soon grew when Kurama gave birth to Yusaka and Yugito gave birth to Masamune. Everyone, including Kurama, was surprised to hear that she was pregnant, but it seems that when Sage of Six Paths gave birth to tailed beasts, he gave them the ability to turn into humans at will, which included the chance of having children. Kurama had never been happier than when Tsunade helped her give birth to Yusaka and she held her tiny baby in her arms and cried with joy. Mama? Papa? Just as Naruto had thought, a 4-year-old girl in a yellow and black kimono with golden eyes and long golden hair came out of her room. She was quickly followed by a 3-year-old boy with short blonde hair, blue eyes, and a blue shirt and white pants, both of whom were looking at their parents. Yusaka asked innocently, "Are the bad people gone?" Kurama moved toward her, and Yugito went to her son. They both kissed them and tried to make them feel better. Naruto told Yusaka, "Yes, my little kitsune, they are gone and won't hurt your parents or your little brother." He then went to Yusaka and Masamune and kissed them on the head. "Let's see what your mothers have made for us now, shall we?" Evening. Just as the kids were going to sleep, Naruto and his wives went into the guest room because they knew they had to talk about something very important. So they waited until the kids were asleep so as not to scare them. Now that no one was around to stop them, Kurama decided to start. "We all knew this was going to happen at some point," Kurama said calmly. "Akatsuki are starting to move, and it's clear that we're their target." Naruto explained, "Kakuzu and Hidan didn't know I was your Jinchuriki, nor did they know about you, Yugi-chan, or Mata-chan. They were only here because there was a bounty on my head." Matabi and Kurama let out a sigh of relief. "But now that both of them are dead, I think Akatsuki will send their best after me. There's a guy who killed 2 of their members all by himself. If I were them, I wouldn't let it go that easily, and since they know where we are, it's only a matter of time before they come here with big guns. As strong as we all are, I don't want to take any chances, especially with our kids' lives on the line." "Me, too. I'd be scared if something bad happened to Ma-kun or Yusaka-chan," Yugito said. "Then we'll have to decide where to go. There's no reason to stay here, and we can't go to any other small country, either. Our only choices are the Big 5 and their hidden villages." Naruto's wives agreed with them when they said, "Kumo is out of the question because they'll forcefully reseal Mata-chan in you, and then you'll be back where you started, Yugi-chan. Even though the Raikage and I are on good terms, I wouldn't be surprised if he turned on me and used us all for his own gain. Iwa is also out of the question, especially since Onoki used Akatsuki to his own advantage and gave him Nibi, Kyuubi, their Jinchuriki, and their children. He's as old as he is spiteful, proud, and eager for revenge after the Third War, so he'll use us, no. No, never. Not after what that jerk Third and his frog apprentice did to me, Naru-kun, and our children," Kurama said with anger. "I never held any ill against them before. I understood what Mito had to do. With Kushina, it was hell and she was nothing like Mito-chan, always so I've had more than enough reason to hate her. But all of that doesn't even compare to what those bastards have done to Naru-kun, and how they banished him. Had it not been for Yusaka and those few that are ungrateful to in Konoha, I would gladly level it to the ground already. So far, Konoha and the rest of the world think Naruto Uzumaki is dead, which is good. I don't trust any of them, especially the council and advisors, except for Tsunade-ka-chan, Shizune-chan, Anko-ne-chan, and Kurenai Oni-chan." Naruto stiffened when he thought of them all. "And if they find out about Yusaka and Masamune, what Hiruzen Teme and Jiraiya did to me will be nothing compared to what those jerks do to Yusaka and Masamune. I would pay money to see Kurama die in Konoha." Matabi said, "That means we can choose between Suna and Mizu, as if it were a fact. Both choices are nice and good, and I don't mind the heat, but I don't think I'd like living in the same neighborhood as our one-tailed brother. We all know how he is, especially around me and Kura-chan. He's really calm now, Mata-chan. Gaara says Shukaku looks like he's high." Naruto found the right word. "But, even though the people in Suna are nice and Gaara is almost my best friend, Mizu is the best choice. Ieyasu knows me and has offered me a job at court for a long time, the shinobi in Mizu respect me, and we have a house in the capital in Kiri." Matabi added, "And Mei-chan is there, too," which made Naruto give him a sarcastic look. "Oh, come on, Naru-kun, we all know how much she loves you, and the kids love her like she's their mother, and she's all for love being shared." Naruto asked her rhetorically, "You're just determined to get her on board with this, aren't you, Mata-chan?" He already knew the answer from her, Kurama, and Yugito. "Okay, first we'll settle things with Tazuna, talk to the kids, and..." Suddenly, Naruto stiffened up and ran to his swords and face guard, putting them on and his armor on in a matter of seconds. Naruto told them, "Someone they don't know is coming up to the house right now. Kura, when I leave, turn on the barrier. Yugi and Mata, the kids are on you." I'll be back soon. He put on a game face and teleported out of the house in a black and red flash. Naruto's house from the front. Naruto scowled at the people who had broken into his world as he saw them in a flash of light from the trees. In the past 7 years, he has fought the Jinchuriki of the tailed beasts, armies of samurai, shinobi of every rank and many of them, the cage, and more. Naruto had been through a lot and come out on top, but this was the first time he was shocked by how rude the intruders were. Coming right up to his house and acting like they have the right to do so. Well, it looks like Hanzo Hattori will have to teach certain people a lesson in humility. Naruto jumped off the tree branch and into the moonlight, where he spoke up. Not many people have come to me so openly, and even fewer have survived, Naruto said as he looked at the people who had broken in. Tell me what's going on, Shinobi of Konoha. To what do I owe my anger? All 11 of Konoha's children, now grown up and proud, stood right in front of Naruto. Some of them had become Chunins, while others had become Jonins. He saw Rock Lee, who had called him an old liar and a lying demon, Shikamaru, who scolded him for what he had done to bring back the precious Uchiha, Kiba, Shino, Tenten, and others. He was most interested in Sakura, who looked just like she used to, only older and wiser. She was still as pitiful, pathetic, and arrogant as she had always been. Naruto thought that Third and Jiraiya were to blame for him having a crush on her because of certain things they did. The next person who caught Naruto's attention was Sasuke Uchiha himself. He was a grown man with the same duck butt haircut but now had a special traitor mark on the right side of his face. Not only a leash, but also a brand, a sign to everyone that this man had betrayed its village and everyone must know it. And even if he does it again, he won't live long enough to feel bad about it. Naruto also saw their former Jonins, who were angry at Guy, Asuma, and especially Kakashi. Only Kurenai was the only person Naruto was happy to see, and he only wanted to talk to her alone. Kakashi asked the man in front of him, Hanzo Hattori, Shinobi no Akuma, and Kirigakure no Oni. All he saw was a slight nod. You've made quite a name for yourself. You're known as the man who killed the clans of Oda, Saito, and more than 100 shinobi in just 1 hour. My former sensei was the only one who could do that. The 4th Hokage was a true shinobi no kami of his time. I have no respect for Shinobi no Akuma. Now, what do you want, Konoha? I don't want to do business with you, so be quick. Naruto put his hand on his sword when he saw that most of the former Genins were already in a fighting stance and a genjutsu was sent his way. Hint, Haruno. Your weak genjutsu will only make me madder. You have 3 minutes to tell me what you want and get out of here. Or what? You really don't think you can beat all of us here by yourself? Kiba boasted loudly, and Akamaru barked in agreement. Even though you're famous, there's no way you can beat me. Naruto said calmly, 2 minutes and counting. He didn't seem scared by the threat. Kiba, shut up. We're not here to fight. Kurenai glared at him and then turned around to face Hanzo Hattori. Hanzo-san, we're not here to fight, but to talk. Our Hokage, Lady Tsunade Senju, and the Council of Konoha want to talk to you and invite you and anyone you want to bring with you to Konohagakure no Sato. There is a dangerous group called the Akatsuki are all S rank, and they want tailed beasts. One of them is Itachi Uchiha, who killed his own clan, Naruto said. Sasuke's face made Naruto smile a little bit. Naruto saw the shock on their faces when he said, heard of them, met them, fought and killed a couple of them just recently. Your perverted frog isn't the only one who has been doing their homework. You want me to help take care of them, but why should I? As far as I know, your Jinchuriki has died, so technically, you aren't in any danger. That's where you're wrong, Hanzo-san. Naruto heard a new voice and saw a red-haired woman with violet eyes walk through the crowd of genins. She was wearing a Jonin uniform and had an Uzumaki family sword on her hip. When Naruto saw her, he scowled and had to hold himself back from attacking her. My name is Kushina Uzumaki, and my son, Menma Namikaze, is the Jinchuriki of Kyuubi. I need your help to protect him, said Kushina Uzumaki, who had given birth to Naruto but left him for his twin brother, Menma Namikaze. As an orphan, Naruto used to dream of having a lot of things. No, they weren't as grand or brave as one might think of him. Before he wanted to be the Hokage, he wanted something that he had wanted for his whole life. And that was to have a family, to be loved and cared for, and to have parents who care for and protect you as a child and help you grow into an adult. Naruto, like every other orphan, longed to have a family, parents, and to be loved and cared for. To stop being alone all the time, to feel the warmth of his mother's embrace, and to hear his father praise him. But Naruto had none of it, and he would never feel it. And it wasn't his decision at all, since it was made by the woman standing right in front of him, the woman who had given birth to him and was supposed to care for and protect him in this world. But she left him for his twin brother instead, leaving him out in the cold, harsh, and unforgiving Konohagakure no Sado to be used as the village's Jinchuriki, manipulated, used, and almost destroyed as a living, feeling person by the village's council and Danzo, as well as by the third Hokage and his only loyal apprentice, Jiraiya. All of this pain, suffering, loneliness, and more began when Kushina Uzumaki left her firstborn son behind and never looked back. Many people would be surprised to learn that Naruto knew about his mother and twin brother for a long time, more than 7 years, to be exact. When he read Tsunade's letters about his real parents and what had happened to him, it was a huge shock to him. Naruto's worst nightmare was finding out that he was not only the son of Minato Namikaze, but also of Kushina Uzumaki, and that she had left him on purpose. This was especially true when he learned why Kushina had done this. And because of that, Naruto hated and resented the idea that this woman had given birth to him and that his father, Minato Namikaze, the fourth Hokage and one of the best shinobi in history, had ever loved her. Kurama says that Kushina was crazy after the attack by the masked man, the birth of her child, and the release of Kyuubi because she thought that Naruto's husband's sealing didn't work right. This was because Kurama had always kept control of her second half, which was sealed in Menma. She didn't even look at the seal on him carefully because she was sure that her husband had sealed not only half of Kyuubi's power inside Naruto, but also Kyuubi's soul and that it had taken over Naruto's body. It was partly true, since Naruto did end up with Kurama's soul, but she had never tried to control him, and she said that his father's seal wouldn't even let her pump out a tiny bit of chakra unless Naruto needed it. But Kushina, who was also a sealing mistress of Uzumaki, thought her firstborn son was lost, so she just threw him away and left Konoha for the fire capital to train and raise her only true son, Menma. When Naruto first heard about it, he was so angry that he lost control of himself and started pumping out more and more of Kurama's chakra, to the point where he let the chakra take over him. He would have destroyed the island of Uzu and let Kurama go if someone he didn't expect to meet hadn't stopped him. Flashback. It's been 7 years and 4 months. Naruto's mindscape. Naruto. Stop this. If you take any more of my chakra, you'll die. Please, Naruto-kun, calm down. Kurama was begging her host and poor soul to stop what he was doing, but he wouldn't listen. The giant fox was forced to watch from her cage as the walls of Naruto's mind and seal were destroyed. That woman. Abandoned. Alone. I will kill her. Naruto roared inhumanly, more and more of Kurama's chakra coming out into the real world and his body already starting to change into a red chakra vessel with foxtails coming out. Naruto, please, I beg you. Kurama saw that her host was about to die, and even though she would be free once this seal was broken, she didn't want to see her first friend die. Damn you, Kushina, Naruto, stop this, or you will. Naruto, that's enough. Suddenly, a new voice came from Naruto's mind. It said, Naruto, that's enough. This made Naruto's mental projection stop being angry for a second. In that split second, the newcomer was able to get right in front of Naruto and push him away from the cage just as he was about to break the seal. Naruto tripped and fell into the water. His anger and rage left his eyes and mind in an instant and were replaced by shock and surprise. He looked up and saw a young blonde man with blue eyes and spiky hair standing over him with his hand out. He was wearing a white Haori and Jonin uniform. Naruto knew right away who that man was. It didn't take him any time at all. Naruto looked up in awe as his father, Minato Namikaze, the fourth Hokage of Konoha and Naruto's father, smiled at him. But, how and why? When I sealed half of Kyuubi's chakra in you and the other half in Menma, I also sealed an equal amount of my chakra in each of you as a backup in case one of you ever let Kyuubi out or the seal was broken from the outside, Minato said as Naruto hesitantly took his hand and got out of the water. In your anger, Naruto, you started letting out more and more of Kyuubi's chakra. If you hadn't stopped, son, you would have died. Yondaime, I tried to stop him, but your stupid seal stopped me, so I blame you for this. Kurama yelled at the man, making him turn around to face the big fox. I would have praised your work here, Minato, but after what they did to Naruto, I'd rather rip you, that cursed woman, and your teacher to pieces. Do you even know what they put Naruto-kun through and what your teacher did to him? If not, I'll be happy to tell you in detail. Kurama yelled at the man who sealed her, but Minato didn't even flinch. Kyuubi and Naruto were both shocked when Minato said, "You don't have to tell me about it, Kyuubi. I already know what they've done." Minato turned to face his son, Naruto, with a sad look on his face and apologetic eyes. He said, "I've seen it all through Naruto's eyes, and it's part of the reason I'm here now." The young blonde could see that Minato was sorry. "Naruto. I know what you've been through, even more than you think. As a Hokage, I may try to understand that what happened to you was necessary, but as your father, a loyal shinobi of Konoha, and a human being, I do not see any excuses for what they did to you. And it's all because of the choice I had to make, my son. For that, I ask for your forgiveness. I have no excuses, only the truth." Naruto asked him, "Dad. What does all this mean?" Minato answered him. "Naruto, when you were born and I had to seal away the Kyuubi, I only had a few moments left in the world. I asked Kushina to take care of you and your brother, and I asked Hiruzen to tell my mother about you and your brother so she could help raise you. But right after I died, your mother decided to leave you, thinking that the Kyuubi had taken over your body and that my sealing didn't work. The woman I had loved my whole life and who had made me the happiest man in the world. I knew Kushina was afraid of Kyuubi and hated it so much that it sometimes clouded her judgment, but to go so far was something even I didn't see coming. I can't forgive her for leaving you or turning the village against you." Naruto was confused. He asked, "Turned the village against me?" Before she left, Kushina told the clan heads and council of Konoha that Kyuubi had taken over your body and that you were no longer her son. Minato could see on his son's face that he was completely horrified and shocked. Sandaime and a few others didn't believe her, but it was enough for the others. With that, Kushina turned the whole village against you and even offered a reward for avenging your death at the hands of the Kyuubi monster. Naruto just stood there, unable to move or do anything else but think about it. His own mother had not only left him, but she had also convinced everyone in his village to start looking for him. She even offered to pay money for it, even though it was her own son and blood that was killed. It now made sense to Naruto why everyone in Konoha not only hated him but also hurt him so much, why he was beaten, put in fox hunts, and more. It made him hate his mother even more than he did before. Kurama waited until she saw that her favorite blonde was getting more angry again before she spoke up. She looked at him with very sad and sympathetic eyes. Kurama asked an obvious question, "So, Yandaime, how do you know all of that? I remember that little meeting well, but how do you know about it?" "Kyuubi, I thought you were the smartest and most knowledgeable of all the Biju, or were Mito Uzumaki's notes wrong?" Minato asked with a smirk when he saw Kyuubi's surprised face. "Like you, I had been keeping an eye on both of my sons, and I knew what was going on while Naruto was at that council meeting with Menma in Kushina's hands. I just tried to stay out of your way, which wasn't easy." Kurama just huffed and turned away, while Minato went back to talk to his son. "Naruto, I know how mad you were, and you have every right to be mad, but I want you to forget about it and move on." "What? How can you ask me to do such a thing, Dad? You saw how badly she, Konoha, and all of my friends treated me, how they spit on me and hurt me, and now you want me to let it all go. Do you even know what it's like to?" Naruto yelled at his father, who had cut him off while he was talking. "I know how you feel because I've been in your shoes, son." Naruto stopped in his tracks and looked at his father in shock. "I know how you feel and what it's like to be left by your mother and abandoned by the people who should be protecting you. Believe me, Naruto, I went through it myself when I was your age and found out who my parents really were." "You mean? Wait, you said your mother sent me here, and the letter." Naruto was finally able to connect the dots. Ba-chan. Minato confirmed what Tsunade had written to Naruto. "Yes, my mother, Tsunade Senju, left me when I was a baby. Not long after my father died, she left me in an orphanage and disappeared. I didn't find out the truth until I was your age from Jiraiya. I was furious, angrier than I had ever been. I tracked her down and confronted her about it, but in my rage and anger I didn't even realize that in my obsessive pursuit for answers, I had cost the lives of my teammates and best friends on the mission. It opened my eyes and taught me a. Why are you telling me this, Dad? Do you want me to go back to Konoha and forget all the bad things that have happened to me? To be the same happy-go-lucky doby they all see me as? I've been exiled, and if I go back, I'm a dead man walking." Naruto yelled at him, and Minato took it all in. Minato shook his head. "No, Naruto, I'm not asking you to do that. What Konoha, Sandaime, Jiraiya, Kushina, and the others have done to you is something I doubt even Sage of Six Paths could forgive. I'm not asking you to forget everything and forgive them. All I'm asking is that you let go of your hatred, calm down your anger, and move on with your life. What happened to you was wrong and terrible, but don't let it change who you are and what you want to be. Naruto seemed to have calmed down and looked at his father carefully. I used to hope that either you or Menma would become Hokage, but now that I've seen everything through your eyes, I know that this hope is out of reach. What I really want is for my son to find his own way in life, to build his own life, free of anger and rage, to be happy with those closest to him, and not let his past control him. That is what I ask of you, Naruto. Build your own life, but don't let the anger and rage. Naruto had paid close attention to his father and thought about what he had said. Even though he was angry and wanted to argue with him, his father was right. Naruto would turn into someone like Sasuke if he lived his life full of rage and anger. He would become an avenger and a traitor who doesn't care about anyone else or even his own life. And Naruto knows what it's like to be hurt by people who are obsessed with getting even, because he was one of those people. If he fell into the same kind of abyss, he would end up like all of them, just like the people he hates the most. No, Naruto never in his life wanted that. Even though his mother and village hurt him and almost broke him, he would never be just like them. He would make his own life away from Konoha and its corruption. He would rise above it and be better than Sasuke, Jiraiya, and the rest of them. If Konoha comes to confront him, he will face them and show them that he is a much better person and a much better shinobi than all of them. He will make his own shinobi path, his true shinobi way of life, and show the world that Naruto Uzumaki is not a demon obsessed with revenge and anger, but a man and shinobi with real values and ideals. Naruto looked up at his father, smiled, and spoke. He had finally let go of his anger. Naruto smiled at him and said, "I'll do it, Dad. I promise." Minato smiled back. Naruto shouted in his usual way, "Just wait, I'll make my own life, and I'll become the best shinobi out there, one that you can be proud to call your son, Datbeo." Minato laughed a little bit at this. Minato hugged his son Naruto and told him, "I believe you, Naruto, and I have faith in you." He was being honest. "And I'm already more proud of you than I could ever be. I'll take care of you, Naruto." Then Minato started to fade away, which made Naruto cry and feel shocked. "Don't worry, since the seal hasn't been broken and you haven't let out the eight-tailed, I'll stay in here for a while in case the fuzzy decides to do something funny." "Who are you calling a fuzzball? I'm a smart kitsune who knows about other cultures, you blonde monkey." Kurama yelled in anger. "Your great-grandparents were often impressed by how smart I am, especially your great-grandfather, who even asked me for help with his gambling because he thought I was so smart." Minato just laughed at her and said, "Hey, I believe you." Then he turned back to Naruto. "Take care of yourself, Naruto. We'll see each other again one day." "I will, and thank you, father." Naruto smiled at him through tears as Minato faded away, leaving his son with a new sense of energy and his inner fire burning brighter than ever. Flashback end. Right now. That day had changed Naruto's life in more ways than one and helped him move forward. He left behind his hatred for Konoha and any thoughts of getting even with them. He broke free of it all and let his soul go out into the world, where there are endless possibilities. Don't get him wrong, what Konoha and Kushina did to him would not be forgotten or forgiven, and he was angry about it, but it would never be what drove him, oh no. Now, his reason for living and getting stronger was to protect his real friends and family. His father had opened his eyes to it, and Naruto will always be grateful to him for that because, in the end, he wouldn't have Kurama, Yugito, Matabi, Yusaka, or Masamune without his words. So, instead of letting his anger take over, Naruto pushed it away, looked at the shinobi from Konoha, and spoke up. Protect him? Is he a baby who needs to be breastfed and have his diapers changed? Naruto could see anger in his biological mother's eyes when she said, "Protect him." If my memory serves me right, he's about 21 years old, which is an adult by any measure. It's a shame that Naruto didn't make it to that age. This made everyone gasp, especially Kakashi, Hinata, Kurenai, Sasuke, Sakura, and Kushina. Kushina asked Hanzo in a voice that was surprisingly quiet and even desperate, You knew Naruto? Why you knew my son? Bullocks, how did you know about the Dobi? He's been dead for over 6 years, or close to that, Kiba said, ignoring Hinata and Kurenai's looks of disgust. And he was sent away more than 7 years ago, right? Naruto asked them. We've met in Land of Sand, not long before his death. A true tragedy, such a good-natured boy, with so much light and hopes, all crushed by the people he considered his friends and comrades. A shame he had perished, you could say he had changed my life in several ways. Naruto saw several looks of sadness from Kushina, Kurenai, Hinata and some looks of shame from the others, while the rest weren't taken by all of this. He did tell me what happened to him in Konoha and how it treated him, and I'll tell you this. I'll never work for a village that can't tell the difference between an innocent child, a victim of his mother's delusions, and a monster that needs to be stopped. Now, if you're done, you should get your sorry assess off my property before I kick them out of here. And tell that perverted frog of a Sanin to stop hiding. Jiraiya said with pride, you have a pretty bad mouth, don't you? Do you even know who you just insulted? I am the sage of Mount Myoboku, the wet dream of all women from east to west, and I don't give a damn, he said. Naruto just looked at everyone and cut him off. Now, you've said what you want to say. Are you here for something else? Hanzo-san, please change your mind. Konoha's council is willing to pay you a lot of money for your help, and you'll also get a place for you and your family to live inside Konoha's wall. Kushina decided to go ahead. All we ask is that you help us destroy the Akatsuki and protect our village from them. In return, you'll get Konoha citizenship, the status of Jonin, and more. You'll even be able to become a shinobi of Konoha and be recognized as the head of your own clan if you decide to start one. So, you want me to go to Konoha and kill the Akatsuki, and in return I'll be what? One of your Jonins with the rights of a clan head? Naruto looked at them all with a raised eyebrow, and Kushina and Jiraiya nodded to him. Do you think I'm stupid? I know that your village has seen better days and that Iwa and Kumo are looking for a rematch for the past wars, not to mention that your alliance with Suna is long over and they are now with Iwa and Kiri. And let's not forget that Otogakure and Orochimaru are still at large so many years after the invasion. Since all of what Hanzo Hattori said was true, none of the Konoha shinobi had said anything different. Konoha was really in a bad spot. Not only had it lost one of its Jinchuriki, but now it was literally surrounded by enemies who all wanted to fight again. Anbu intelligence said that a new war could happen in 2 to 4 years, and Konoha needed to get its power and prestige back as soon as possible. The loss of almost the whole Uchiha clan had a big effect on Konoha's power at first, and even if Sasuke had children with women now, Konoha wouldn't have any Sharingan users who could fight for at least 12 years, even if Sasuke had children with women now. They needed strong and powerful shinobi right now, and no matter how talented and promising the shinobi of today were, nothing beat a veteran of war and battles who had been there and done that. And of all the people out there, Hanzo was at the top of the list. He had so many shinobi art skills, experience, and expertise that he was seen as the second coming of Tobirama Senju. If he joined Konoha, Iwa and Kumo would back down right away, and Suna and Kiri would be much more willing to talk since Hanzo is close with the Mizukage and Kazekage. Hinata Hyuga couldn't take her eyes off of Hanzo while he talked. She couldn't look away from him. She had no idea how to explain it, but something seemed strangely familiar and so close to her that she couldn't even think about it. Hinata felt like she was looking at the closest person from her past who had suddenly shown up. He looked nothing like he did before, but she had the same feelings as if she were looking at him again. She turned on her Byakugan and looked closely at Hanzo, putting a little faith in her heart and feelings. The Hyuga clan was known for being able to not only see chakra clearly, but also remember its unique signature and tell it apart from all the others. Hinata had spent years looking for and following her love, the boy who gave her the courage to move forward. When she saw his chakra, her eyes got big and she spoke. She couldn't believe what she was seeing. Naruto Uzumaki was standing right in front of everyone. "En Naruto-kun." Those words caught everyone's attention, and everyone, including Hanzo, looked confused and surprised. "En Naruto-kun. It really is you. You are alive and you are here. You are Hanzo Hattori." If Naruto hadn't learned to control his emotions, he would have widened his eyes at this, while all of Konoha's shinobi were dumbfounded by what Hinata had just said. Hinata said, "Naruto is Hanzo." Sakura screamed, "What? Naruto is Hanzo? Hinata, what are you talking about? How can that dead monster be the man right here?" Naruto Baka had messy blonde hair and a hideous orange jumpsuit, and he couldn't sit still for a second. If he were Naruto, he'd ask me out on a date right away, for crying out loud. Tenten looked at Hanzo and said, "Yeah, I have to agree with Sakura on this one, Hinata. Naruto was a complete idiot, and this guy seems to know a lot more. That guy has the specially made Ronin armor from Tetsu no Kuni and 2 chakra katanas. Our Naruto didn't even know how to use a kunai right. Naruto thought to himself for a second, wow, I know I was bad, but that was just cold, Tenten. Then he looked back at Hinata. Still, I should have remembered that members of the Hyuga clan can recognize a shinobi by his chakra signature. Since Hinata has been watching me for years, she must have been able to recognize me. Damn it. Let's hope that Neji doesn't get any ideas or that Akamaru here doesn't recognize me by scent. Oh no. Tenten, to be honest with you, I wouldn't be so sure, Shikamaru said out of the blue. Clan Hyuga is known for their Byakugan, which lets them recognize anyone they know, even if they've changed their appearance. We all know that Hinata has been looking at Naruto for a long time, so. Excuse me, but do you know I'm still here? Naruto asked to get their attention again. I don't know what this is about me being your dead friend or something, but this is my last word. Get out of here, or Akatsuki will be the last thing you worry about here. Hanzo already had his hand on the blade, and everyone got back into fighting position. Hinata tried to plead with him, and no, please, Naruto-kun, but he cut her off. For the love of God. Girl, you're wrong. I'm not your. It really is you, Naruto. Neji Hyuga's voice came out of nowhere as he looked at Naruto with his Byakugan fully out. Hinata-sama is right. The man in front of us is Naruto Uzumaki, not Hanzo Hattori. I memorized your chakra signature during the Chunin exams, so don't try to deny it, Naruto. When he said this, everyone turned to look at the man in question with a shocked look on their faces. Kurenai, Kushina, Hinata, and even Jiraiya and Kakashi were looking at Naruto with hopeful, almost desperate eyes. Kiba, Sasuke, Rock Lee, Neji, Sakura, and Ino, on the other hand, were looking at Naruto with eyes full of danger and disgust. The others just put on a serious face and were waiting to see what was behind the face guard. Naruto stared at them with narrowed eyes for a while before heaving a sigh. He knew they wouldn't leave him alone unless he satisfied their curiosity, and even then, they wouldn't go away. But if they really wanted to go that way, they could try, even though he was still legally banned and couldn't come back because he could be killed if he did. For once, he was happy with what the Council of Konoha did. He took his hand off the blade, lifted it up to his face guard, and then pulled it down. Everyone was shocked and surprised to see the new face of their old friend, Konoha Shinobi, who had been kicked out of the village. It no longer looked fat, and Naruto's whiskers were gone without a trace. Instead, Naruto's face looked sharper. Naruto Uzumaki's face was no longer that of a dumb blonde who didn't know what he was doing. Instead, it was the face of a truly grown-up, handsome man and a shinobi who could put many others to shame. Even though they wouldn't say it out loud, Tenten, Ino, and even Sakura had to agree that Naruto's new look was not just good, but also dashing and beautiful, even if they would never say it in public. Sasuke, Kiba, Neji, Rock Lee, Sakura, and Tenten all looked shocked, but also angry. Asuma and Might Guy came next. Kushina, Jiraiya, Hinata, and especially Kurenai, who couldn't stop crying when she saw him, all had shocked and surprised looks on their faces. Naruto finally broke the silence by saying something. Neji, just to be clear, Hanzo Hattori is Naruto Uzumaki. I didn't impersonate him. I made him from scratch, but now I'm starting to think I was a little too good at this. Naruto just looked at his former allies, friends, and mother with a blank expression. Naruto looked at Kushina, Kakashi, Jiraiya, Sasuke, and Sakura in particular and said, I would say it's been a long time, but I wish I didn't have to see most of you here for another 2 lifetimes. And some of you, I would really like to give a piece of my mind in steel for what you did to me. Gaki. Damn, Gaki, it's you. Sweet Kami, I almost didn't recognize you there, with all that black hair and no whiskers. Jiraiya yelled in joy and started moving towards Naruto, but he was stopped by a powerful wave of killing intent coming from Naruto. Hey, Naruto. What's with all this ki? You don't seem happy to see me. Naruto asked Jiraiya, should I? The last time we met, you said that I'm a big disappointment to your village and that the 4th Hokage and 3rd Hokage would be appalled by what I did. Jiraiya stopped in his tracks and thought about what Naruto had said, and his face turned red with shame. I guess my godfather would know better since he trained my father, the 4th Hokage, also known as Minato Namikaze. But guess what, my father wasn't upset with me at all. Jiraiya asked Naruto, you already know who your father is, don't you? Naruto just laughed at him. Naruto narrowed his eyes at Jiraiya and said, I know everything about him and the woman in front of me. And don't even get me started on what you and that old jerk of a Hokage have done to me. Jiraiya's eyes widened when he realized what Naruto was talking about. Memory alteration seals, and not just one but 3 of them, right on my mind. Tell me, were you trying to make me stupid, or did you just like mind raping me with that old dust bag? Jiraiya had tried to defend himself by saying, Naruto, it's not what you think it was. We had no other choice because Kyuubi was starting to control you, and... Don't give me this load of crap. You are a level 8 sealing master, and you knew that my 8 trigram seal was safe and not weakened. You changed my memories not because of Kyuubi, but because it was convenient and handy for both of you, especially since I had found out quite a few of your dirty secrets, like one about this woman right here. Naruto looked at Kushina, who looked desperate and looked at Naruto. So, Kushina Uzumaki, are you happy to finally see your firstborn son? Do you have anything to say, even though it doesn't matter in the big picture? Sochi, please, I know what I did was terrible, but please, you have to understand that I... Kushina was trying to explain herself, but Naruto cut her off right away. Thought I was possessed by Kyuubi because of my father's mistake and that you had to leave me, and the whole village was out to kill me? Naruto saw that she was shocked and crying. Kushina, you're an Uzumaki and a level 10 sealing mistress, and you used to be a Jinchuriki of Kyuubi. It should be easy for you to tell the difference between a caged fox and a free one, but you just assumed I was possessed and left it at that. Do you know how many times I was sent to the hospital before I turned 3? Not just by villagers, but by genins, chunins, and jonins, isn't that right, Guy, Asuma? With Guy, it's clear, but with you, Asuma. That heen of yours almost cut my head off back then. I still don't know what Kurenai Oni-chan saw in someone like you. When Kurenai heard what she did, she opened her eyes wide and her mouth fell open. Oni-chan, Naruto, my little bundle of joy, you remembered. You remembered again. Wait, Asuma. Hunt. Heen. Slice. Kurenai's happy thoughts turned to murder as she stared at Asuma Sarutobi. Did I hear you right, Asuma? You took part in fox hunts and almost killed Naruto? Asuma shivered when he looked into the eyes of his ex-girlfriend, who was looking at him with murder in her eyes. Asuma tried to defend himself by saying, I didn't know any better. I thought he was a Kyuubi and... But then he realized something and turned back to Naruto. Wait, how do you remember? The last time I saw you, you didn't remember a thing, and... Details don't matter, but what does is that you used the girl who had adopted me to get close and claim the prize. I think your exact words were, not only do I get to avenge our 4th Hokage, but those 15 million Ryo will also be mine, so you better stand still so I can slice you clean, demon, Naruto said, remembering how Asuma paled at this one and how his former team and some others looked shocked and even disgusted. Thank you, Kami. Anko Ne-chan got back from her mission early and decided to stop by. This is why she... Asuma. I'm going to kill you because of what you did to him. Kurenai was very angry and ready to kill Asuma right then, but Kakashi stood between them and told Hatake, get out of the way. This man, this jerk, cheated on me, and then he used me to kill my adopted son right here. I shouldn't have trusted him or his jerk of a father, so get the hell away from me or I'll kill you on the spot. Kurenai, take a deep breath. Don't you see that you're not thinking straight? All Kakashi did was ask her, but Kurenai didn't back down. Guy-sensei, Naruto tells me. Is this true? Really? You tried to kill him? Tenten was shocked when she realized what a bad thing her sensei had tried to do. Yes, Tenten. Guy said, it's true, which surprised everyone else. There was a time when I tried to put an end to a demon's old life inside the walls of our young village. Because he was lying and tricking both shinobi and civilians, it was my job as a young beautiful green beast of Konoha to get rid of him before he hurt even more people. Guy said in his usual way, I almost did it, and I would have if the fox hadn't used his old, evil power to draw attention away from the corrupted Anbu. But I swore on Fourth's grave in my own honor that I would kill this monster in the end, one way or another, because I am Might Guy, the young green beast of Konoha. Oh, Guy-sensei, you're right on the money. Naruto had always played dirty and lied, so he must be a real old demon. Let's beat him together, and if I fail, I'll do 10,000 push-ups with just one finger and 100 laps around the land of fire. Rock Lee agreed right away with his sensei, which made Tenten, Kurenai, Hinata, and a few others look shocked. Well, if you two want to try, you are welcome to. Only, Lee, you'll have to be doing those laps in hell, because if you attack me, I'll be more than happy to send you straight there. And Kurenai Oni-chan, even though I'd like it if you killed this guy right here, it's best not to. I wouldn't want you or Anko Ne-chan to become Nuke Nin if there wasn't a good reason. If you don't mind, it would be better if I cut off his head. Won't be the first Sarutobi I've killed, nor the first Konoha shinobi, Naruto said with a dry laugh, seeing the shock and a little bit of fear in the eyes of his old friends. Naruto, if I didn't know you, I would have thought you were threatening us here, Kakashi said. You do know that making threats without any reason shows how stupid you are, right? Even if you had left the village, a real Konoha shinobi wouldn't kill his own kind, even if he was using a different name. And I know you are not a killer, Naruto. And who said it was a threat with no basis, Hatake? Naruto asked him with a deadpan voice. I've been kicked out of Konoha, had all my property and money stolen because of false charges, and had people I thought were my friends turn on me in the blink of an eye. Plus, I've been hurt more and been closer to dying in Konoha than I was in the field. And did I say that my mind was changed so I would stay a quiet, dumb knucklehead? By all means, I have more reasons to want Konoha to die than Madara and the third Tsuchikage put together. And as for the last part of your question, 3 years ago, on the border between the Land of Wind and the Land of Stone, 27 Chunin and Jonin shinobi from Konoha were sent to stop Kazekage and his group so that he couldn't meet with Tsuchikage. The orders were either to wait or to shoot anyone they saw. Nobody came back, and 5 days later, a villager from Land of Rivers brought their bodies back on a cart. I had paid him a lot of money to do this as a warning to their families, remember? Naruto gave a small smirk when he saw that most of the shinobi out here were shocked to find out that he was the man behind the infamous Rivers Massacre, which was one of Konoha's worst defeats in recent years. All of the shinobi who took part were brought back dead, brutally killed, and some were barely recognizable. At first, it was thought that this was the work of Akatsuki, someone like Itachi Uchiha, or a team of Kiri's Anbu. But when they heard that Naruto Uzumaki, who had always said he was going to become Hokage and was thought to be the last of their generation, had gone and killed all of them, it was hard to believe. Dobi, do you think that we here will believe what you say? Everyone knows that my brother killed them back there on Kazecage's orders, Sasuke told Naruto. You may look different, but you're just a dead last, and that's what you'll always be, no matter what. Yeah, Sasuke-kun is right. You are just an annoying little pest who can't compete with real shinobi like us. You probably changed your appearance to try to look cooler and make me like you, but it won't work. Sakura yelled at Naruto, who looked at her like she was crazy. Good Kami, was I really that stupid to have a crush on? Oh, right, I was that stupid, Naruto thought to himself before speaking. Sakura, I don't know what gave you that idea, but let me tell you something. I've traveled all over the elemental nations for more than 7 years and seen a lot of beautiful women and girls. Compared to them, you are like the frogs Kasama-sanin here dreams about in his sleep. An S-rank Nuke Nin organization is after my head, you Konoha idiots wouldn't let me live in peace, and I have a Kyuubi inside me, so I had to change a few things about my appearance to stay alive and not become a prime target for everyone to take. So, Gaara, Temari, and Kankuro were wrong when they said you were killed by Suna's Nuke Nin? But they brought back your dead body, and Lady Tsunade and Shizune looked at it and confirmed that it was you. Shikamaru said to Naruto in shock, we were saddened by your death, Naruto. Naruto just laughed. We put your body to rest and Konoha had the biggest celebration since it was founded, which lasted for 2 days straight, Naruto said. As for that corpse, you would be bloody surprised what a dead blonde genin my age, a skilled Iryo nin, and a special seal can be used for. Gaara was happy to help with the first 2, but I had to do the last one on my own. What could be better than dying to disappear? After that, all I had to do was dye my hair black, which is the most common hair color on the planet, change my hairstyle, and get rid of my whiskers through a very precise and a little bit painful operation, but damn if it wasn't worth it. What a drag. You smart jerk to think that Choji and I were crying over a fake corpse. Do you have any idea how painful it was for all of us? Hinata, Kurenai-sensei, Anko, your mother, you broke so many people's hearts with that trick. During the procession, Lady Tsunade and Shizune were openly crying over that damn coffin. Have you thought about what that would do to us? Shikamaru yelled at him, we know what we said was wrong on many levels, and we're sorry, but that was just cruel and horrible. Shikamaru, just because you, Choji, and some of the others among you realized what you did doesn't excuse you or forgive you, Naruto said in a cold voice. Now, enough about all of this. I am still technically banned from Konoha and can't go back. Going back would be like signing my own death warrant, and my punishment says I can't go back under any circumstances, so. Actually, Naruto, the Council of Konoha has withdrawn that punishment from you upon the return of Kushina and Menma back in Konoha, pardoning you of any and all crimes. Jiraiya chimed in, getting a curious eye from Naruto. Now, given the fact of you still being a son of 4th Hokage, a Jinchuriki of Kyuubi, and a citizen of Konoha, there is no way we can let a prodigal boy like you continue to stray away from his home any longer. Also, if you come back, Tsunade might finally forgive me and let me back into Konoha. So, either I come along with you peacefully or you and this group of hypocrites and crazy people will drag me there, is that it? Naruto wasn't being nice about it at all. Well, when you put it that way, I guess none of us here have any other options. Lady Hokage told us to get Hanzo Hattori no matter what, and since you are him, we can't go back without you, Kakashi said to Naruto in a lazy way. But seriously, Naruto, do you really think you can take us all down? Can you really bring yourself to hit us, even if it means hitting your own mother? Naruto just gave him a quick blink and then turned to Hinata and Kurenai. Hinata-chan, Kurenai Oni-chan, you two were there for me when I needed it the most. Naruto told the man the truth. Because of that, I'd like you to leave. My problem isn't with you, but with the rest of them. If you stay in here, I won't be responsible for anything you might see. I don't want to fight you or hurt you in any way, so I ask you to leave. Kurenai and Hinata were surprised, but they nodded and decided to follow Naruto's advice. They used Shunshin to get out of there, which shocked the other shinobi here. Hey, what the heck was that? Why do they get away with it and we don't? Are you really that stupid to think you can take us all by yourself? Ino yelled at him. All of us here, including Sasuke-kun, will tear you a new one in no time. Gaki, you really have done it now, Jiraiya said simply. Minato, I hope you can forgive this idiot of a son of yours, wherever he is now. Suddenly, a large dome appeared right over Naruto, his house, and the area around it, which didn't surprise Naruto. Did you think we would let you get away from here in any way? No one can leave this area, no matter how strong, fast, or powerful they are, because of this barrier. Naruto, you have to stay with us now. It would be best if you gave up now, before things get worse. Kasama Sanin, do you think I didn't expect this to happen? You think I'm stuck here with you? Naruto asked him in a dangerously calm way, putting his hand on his left katana and pulling it out. No, it's the exact opposite. Naruto puts his face guard on and gets his katana ready. It's you who are stuck here with me, he said, and the battle began with a flash of black and red.
So that's it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe to the channel for more awesome stories like this. Thank you. See you all in my next video.